Alright. Start. Wee Willie here. I'll be playing, let's see, who am I playing? Deshaun White. My friends call me DD, though. And all these people here are my friends, of course. And we're here on this fabulous cruise liner. And right now, we seem to be in a bit of a bind. I'll kick it off. My good friend Cletus, who's currently in a tiger cage, I believe.
He is currently, yeah. Oh, Pathfinder, you didn't have to do that, man.
So, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance. I have like 6 children running around in the back in my house. They all decided to come play in the trailer park today. And I am Red State 08, Pathfinder in chat. Play Cletus Bubba Jr. And I am locked in a tiger's cage right now because I apparently became ill.
Waiting on Pathfinder to realize he could put those children to work for free.
Well, I have been.
Clean up the house.
Who do you think farms my World of Tanks experience?
I was gonna say you should have about
Oh boy.
4 or 5
Let's say you should
kids.
start the clothing manufacturing shop there or something.
Mm-hmm.
24-hour shifts.
Richest dude in the trailer park.
Oh my.
I'm Lodge 2000 in chat, and I'm playing Buck Manfred.
Who you playing?
Buck Manfred.
Some stinking foreigner, Dave. Pay him no mind.
Right. Some stinking foreigner.
I'm Miss Scarlet Nitz, and I play Betty Gunderson, the film professor.
And I'm Sylvia in the channel, and I'm playing Vera, the ex-gypsy from Artsatska. And I have the recap. We went to visit, or we were originally going to put the power back on so that we could put the lifeboats back down. But we decided to stop by the owner's place where he was holed up, and we did find him. We tried to get some information out of him. It seems that he did not have anything to do with the outbreak of the virus or whatever's turning everyone into zombies, but he did want to sink the ship partly for insurance money, and
Mr.
that's why
Forthington.
that's right, yeah. And that's why he has the military on board that we are also now working with. So we took him back to the, I guess it's like a cafeteria, auditorium. No, it's an auditorium, right?
Yeah, where the Golden
Yeah.
Girls is
Like a
gonna play
theater.
at.
Yeah, yeah.
The goggles.
And that's where we got about 300 or so people that we've rounded up, and we brought them all there. We're getting ready to leave the ship, but we have all the people there that have not turned yet, and we're just waiting. But there's this lady who's been very religious, and she has been acquiring a mass of people who are following her, and she is thinking that the zombie plague is God's wrath, and
With her
that some of us are instrumental in it.
a religious zealot.
Eventually, Mr. Forthington, he admitted that he was the reason that everything went wrong. But of course that was taken the wrong way. Everyone thinks he is responsible for the zombies now, and they're out to get him. But of course we're associated with them, so now they all want us as well. And before we left, last campaign, we were all surrounded and taken prisoners. And that's it, where we are now.
Yep, that's where you guys are at, basically. Good, nice recap. So, where we left off last week is, not only was Mrs. Harton and her flock, as she calls it, they basically took Forthington, and it looks like they were fixing to, she's screaming that a sacrifice has to be made. One, to appease God, and to appease God with bloodshed. So I mean that's pretty crazy
I was
to
trying
hear.
to remind her that's why Jesus died, right?
No. So all hell's broken loose here. All right. Now, just as Mrs. Hartman and they're screaming, Mr. Forthington is screaming to the top of his lungs. Basically, you can tell that his voice is going hoarse from screaming, and he's begging those carrying him towards the auditorium doors basically to let him go and to not throw him to the living dead or the ghouls out there. Now, in the background, you can hear children are screaming, they're crying. As these are as everyone witnesses this shit going down and unfolding in front of them. I mean, pure terror is going on. Women are crying. Kirkman and Colonel Brackenridge, they're bound on chairs up on the stage. They've been bound with some of the stage rope, whatever. And Miss Harton, she starts to yell, "He's brought this upon himself! Ooh, he's brought this upon himself with his own hubris!" And she's yelling this and continually chanting a lot of religious things. And there he was, willing to sacrifice all of us for the evil that is money and greed. Let his blood be the first spilled to appease God and to bring about our forgiveness here on this vessel. And she's screaming this out to her flock, and some people are in agreement with her. You can still hear several of the other people in the auditorium, which there is. Like I was saying last week, there's about 300 people in this auditorium. Some are calling her a whack job. Other people are agreeing with her. But Mr. Forthington is hold on. I think I got. Oh. I thought somebody was not muted there for a second. So Mr. Forthington, he's continued to plead to let him go. He's screaming how sorry he is for what he was going to do. And he continues to scream that no one was intended to be hurt or everybody was going to get off of the ship safely. And then as Mr. Forthington nears the door, the two men standing there, they basically rip the doors open. And Forthington is pushed outside, and Forthington goes down. He falls down. He quickly regains his footing, and just as he, darts back up on his feet and starts to run back towards the auditorium door, the doors are slammed shut, and then you can hear him start to bang on the. He's trying to forcefully get back into the. He's screaming and then all of a sudden, you can hear the women and children still crying and saying, "Let him." Some people are saying, "Let him back in," and so then you can start to hear the moans of these living dead or these ghouls. The moans start to ensue, and then of course, Forthington starts to scream even more, and then Mrs. Harton says, "And as for you," and then she turns towards Colonel Brackenridge. And also towards Kirkman, "Fear you not, but her words, and she says, 'Fear you not,' and she continues on, and the living dead, and she says that pretty much you two are next to appease our God, to appease Jesus." And so now Forthington's eyes, his well, not his eyes, but Colonel Brackenridge and Kirkman, they kind of look at each other like, "Oh shit, this is how we're going to go out." And then all of a sudden you guys hear the living dead, and then you start to hear screams, and you can actually hear sort of like bones cracking and flesh ripping through the door, and then Forthington's screams fall to silence.
Man, that white woman just killed that man.
Yeah.
Her God didn't do that. I'm saying this to Vera and Puck and Betty.
Can we
This
start
one-
passing out the Kool-Aids now?
This woman's a murderer.
Right. Harton looks back over towards the stage again and looks at Brackenridge and Kirkman and says, "Fear you not, for you too will bring expiation for your sins." And then she turns and walks away, basically disappearing into her growing congregation, or flock, as she calls it. As the moan of the ghouls of the living dead are continuing outside, but not like they were as they were, ripping apart Mr. Forthington.
Are we tied up or something? Like that?
No, yes, you guys are tied up. You guys are also on the stage. There's an auditorium. It's a large auditorium, probably about a 4 to 500 seat auditorium. There's the curtains are down, and there are several cages in the back. That's where Cletus was put into one of these cages last week because he just wasn't feeling well. Now, to get back with Cletus, Cletus is feeling. You're feeling a lot better, Cletus. You don't know if it was just a. You have no clue what it was. You think it might have had something to do with you biting into Mrs. Haynes, yesterday, the day before, as in like game time. But with your vigor checks that you've performed throughout the last couple sessions that I made you do, it seems like you've got the stomach that's made out of cast iron, I guess. But it seems like you're definitely feeling better. You don't have the jaundice color as you had the last couple of sessions, and you're still in this cage, however, though. So you've basically come to, and you can hear all of this going on, Cletus, in the back, beyond the curtain. You can hear people screaming, shouting. You've heard a couple gunshots. Actually, what woke you up was a single gunshot that sounded like it was, literally a couple feet from you, and that's when you heard Kirkman basically yelling at the audience last week. So that's when you basically woke up. So what do you guys think? This is the hell in a handbasket, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm looking all around me, Dave. I'm trying to see if I'm being closely watched, and if not, do I have some way to try and extricate myself from these bonds? I don't like being tied up like this.
Yeah, they're tied pretty good. There's a couple. You got the gentleman that you helped with his family last week. That Jonathan Tremore guy. He's got one of the paramilitary men's SMGs. There's several other people. There's 3 or 4 people that have these guns, and they're just kind of waving them around. You could tell that they literally have no type of training using these guns. And you can also see there's probably almost a dozen other of these Glock 9mm that were basically taken off of probably dead security officers from Kirkman's staff, and plus from all of you. So all of your ammunition has been taken. All of your steak knives have been taken. So you guys basically just have your bare hands, and all this is going on. And
my one hand.
I'm sorry.
Your bare hand.
There's a total of 9 arms in the group.
Wonder what
So.
they tied his arm to his neck or something.
So as you guys are up on stage witnessing all of this, Kirkman, he turns to you guys, and he's got like a look of, like a somber look, as like he's cashed his chips in. And
Right. Well, I want to talk to Tremore when I get a chance.
Okay. Well, Tremore he's on the side. He's kind of walking around the room. All of the guys with the SMGs, they're basically in the up on the top. There's like an upper level. The little balconies, the little cubbyhole balconies in the auditorium. There's a couple guys up there. Tremore's down on the ground though, but you can still see that there are several other of the flock members that are up in these cubby holes up on the second stage, the second level of this auditorium. But Kirkman basically he says, guys, we are fucked. as long as these guys have the guns, there's nothing we can do. He goes, we're pretty much fucked. And this Mrs. Harton is fucking insane. Yeah, what's up, Pathfinder?
Am I in voice shot of where this Mrs. Harton was?
You're in the back, so there's really no one around you. There are several other. What you do notice, there's in one of the other tiger cages that's on the stage. Within the last 10 or 15 minutes, you can tell that a couple of these corpses inside of this cage has reanimated. So There are several that are they're not trying to claw their way out as per se, but they do see you and they're kind of facing you in the cage, and you're just kind of reaching at you, but there's not. I mean, there's 20 feet, probably 15, 20 feet between the cage that you're in and the cage that they're in. So, I mean, you're safe in that aspect. You're not going to have any of these walking zombies be able to get you. So, but it's a rather large cage.
All right, well, I tell Kirkman, I'm trying to say this under my breath. I assume we're all together, right?
Oh yeah,
We're all tied up together in
Yeah.
this area. I tell them that it doesn't look like these guys know what they're doing with them guns. If we could get free of these bonds somehow or another, I don't think it would be too hard of a task to
you're right.
disarm them.
He says that Mrs. Hartman, that bitch is literally insane.
She's crazy. She
yeah.
done killed Mr. Forthington.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the son of a bitch, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to kill him like that. I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to punch him in the face or something, but that's it, man.
I agree with you, Dee. I mean, Forthington needed to be punished. There's no doubt about that. But that's why we have a legal system. And what these people did here was nothing more than murder.
I don't think all these people are 100% behind it. They can't be. There can't be that many crazy people on this boat, man. Did Forthington do some kind of psychiatrist test or something on these people, or did we get all the crazy people on this boat? I don't think they can't all be down 100%.
I don't think they are,
doing.
because I heard people screaming to let him go. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's 100% that.
Well, how many people
I
do I
think they're
estimate
just-
to be a part of her little
She's
cabal?
probably got about 50 people
Okay.
in her her flock. So she's got about 50 people. And you guys can still hear the sounds of the living dead, and then all of a sudden it kind of just quiets down to nothing. I mean, poor Mr. Forthington, right?
Right.
I'm looking around if there's some kind of way to find something sharp.
Do I get a chance to talk to Trevor, or is he never around
Yeah.
me, or am I just gonna
So how are you
sit
trying
back and watch
to?
the show?
How are you trying to get a? I mean, are you just going to say, "Hey, Jonathan," or I mean, what are you going to do to try to get his attention?
He was by one of the balconies, right?
Yeah, he's on the floor, kind of walking around. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Well, I'm gonna back up to Vera.
Dave, in
Vera,
this
be
cage
still,
that I'm
be
in,
still.
is there any chains that are loose on the floor, or like a shackle ring or something like that that's loose on the floor?
No, nothing like that, man. It's pretty much an empty stage, minus the cages and some of the other prep bullshit that they have. There's a couple. It looks like fire extinguishers to the side, and a couple other rings and hoops that they're going to get these lions to jump through. But other than that, a couple of the long sticks with the little whips on it that they kind of slap the ass of the tiger. Go Tampa Bay Lightning, by the way.
Is there one of those that I can reach?
No, not within your range. No.
What about a fire extinguisher or anything that I can reach?
No, not where you're at. No, there's just too much room between, because there's one, the kit. It's set up like this. You're basically on the show floor where not only the Golden Girls perform, but also the Tiger Show that they're gonna have,
Right,
and it's
Siegfried and Roy.
yeah, Siegfried and Roy, man. They're just special guests on the Pinnacle. So you haven't seen them yet. They could be zombies, but well, they're living zombies anyway. They're both 125 years old or something. But one cage is on the left of the stage, the other cage is on the right. So it's not like they're not against the wall to where you can literally grab
Right.
anything. So
Well, I'm backing up towards Vera. I'm gonna put my back to your back, Vera. Be still, Vera. Be still. Don't move around a whole lot. I'm trying not to draw too much attention. Can I? Have I got my hands behind me, Dave?
yeah, all of your hands are basically bound behind you, and
Okay, I lost you there.
like I was saying, both Kirkman and Colonel Brackenridge, they're in chairs, and you guys are basically sitting on the floor.
I think we lost Willie.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we did lose Willie.
Yep.
So Vera, I mean, what are you trying to? Are you trying to get a hold of? I mean, are you trying to somehow?
No, I thought he was nearby.
He's not nearby now. I mean, he is in the same room. He's not up on one of those balconies per se.
Is there anything like with a sharp edge or something close by?
No, not where you're at, Puck. No.
I know this sounds crazy, David. In the cage where I'm at, what about tiger turds? Are there any tiger turds in the cage?
There's no tiger. Now it's actually relatively quite clean up there.
Fuck, can you get a turd in a cage?
Okay, there's like one little pebble of poop. What do you want to do? You want to like smear it on your face or something? What's going on?
No, I've got to have at least a handful.
No, there's not a handful of tiger poop.
Oh my god.
God,
I can
and
just
he's
imagine.
hungry. Let him
United
eat
States
some
Marine Corps, man, adapt, improvise, and overcome.
So,
I
so
was wondering how long it was going to take before Dave started making the noise.
well, you know, Betty, your son, he's out in the crowd. You can see that he's walking around in the crowd. Good old Sam. You know, they did not recognize Sam as your son or being affiliated with you in any single, you know, in any way. So that's possibly a good thing.
Used to be a lazy son of a bitch.
Wow.
Oh my.
Oh my. All right, so as you guys are talking with one another, Mrs. Harton, she gets up on a 55-gallon drum, whatever's in the drum. We have no clue what's in this 55-gallon drum, but you know, she starts to speak out and she says, "See, they're leaving, at least for now. The sacrifice has been accepted, and God has shown all of us His grand mercy. She has shown us mercy, but He has not given us total forgiveness. Forgiveness will require greater sacrifices and more blood. Mr. Forthington was just a down payment." And a couple of people are like, "Oh," you can hear, "Oh." You know, Mrs. Harton, she gets off of the 55-gallon drum, and she actually goes over to Jonathan Zovey. You do notice that. It's like you got ESP in your head or something, Zovey. So you can see, you know, a couple other people are starting to maybe take whatever she's saying and joining her flock. So you guys can have some time, but it seems like Mrs. Hartman is talking to several of the guys that are holding the guns, kind of walking around.
Yeah, I was breaking out for a second that day, but I was trying to get back to Vera's bonds and see if I could maybe wiggle fingers and try and loosen her bonds somehow or another.
Sure. I'll let you.
I have lock picking and stuff. I don't know how that would work in this game, but
I think it's. I think it would be agility. Let me check out.
Agility roll.
Yeah. Let me check something really quick. Can you believe we were doing shooting rolls wrong the whole time?
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But wow, it seems a whole lot too easy to shoot stuff. It seems like
It really does, man. Seriously.
It's a 4, God. It makes buying a bulletproof vest sound like a good first purchase, you know.
You know, yeah, it's all about getting toughness, man. It's
Yeah,
all about
toughness
getting
is
toughness
ideal.
up. I mean, that's what it seems like to me.
It's just getting as high damage reduction.
That's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, I put a lot of focus into getting my toughness up. I know that.
I'm probably gonna have to say that I would probably have to say it would be just a base, probably agility type of check.
Agility roll. Okay.
Yeah, I would say
I'm trying to then.
give me an agility check -2, and Vera, you can also you can kind of put 2 and 2
Assist.
together,
Okay.
and you can give an assist. So with your assist, we'll go with a -1 on the check.
Alright. Mine. I have a phobia of being tied up and restrained.
Mm-hmm.
So, this will be an additional -2 to my roll.
Okay. Well, we'll just take that.
That's with
We'll
the
take that
-1 in
one.
it, Dave.
Yeah. Okay. Even with the we'll just kind of take it back to a -2 because of her phobia. She's just kind of a little jittery and fidgety. I mean, you still have a 5 roll, so it's not like you're able to. And plus, Vera, you can feel that your hands are coming unbound. But I would have let you also try. I would have let you also try if Dee Dee wasn't successful. But it seems like he's quite dexterous with his hands, and he's kind of wiggled the bindings of the stage rope. This is a really thick stage rope. It's not like it's something that's meant for making ship knots or anything like that. This is for making. Just for basically holding shit up and winding it around these anchors on the wall. So, yeah, you get it quite easily. You get but you still have the ropes. I mean, your hands are still behind your back, and the ropes are still, around your hands, binding them.
Right.
But you can definitely pull them apart. And same with Same with Juve. I mean, you guys were kind of back to back, and Puck and Betty, you two are back to back as well. You guys could be back to back if you kind of just moved in a little bit.
I'm telling Vera not to make any. Vera, just don't make any
I want to
sudden
try it.
moves. Don't
Looks
draw
like
any
Dee Dee's
attention
got
to
a
us. I
mohawk,
think
doesn't
we've
it?
got these bonds loosened up a little bit, though, huh?
Yeah, and this is
I want to try it.
Mrs. Hartman on the right, and Jonathan. This is the guy on the left. Sorry about that.
Are you talking about the woman praying up here? Okay.
Yeah, that's Miss Hartman. Yeah, that is her.
Jonathan looks like he might like to touch little boys or something. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Oh my TD.
Dee Dee has a feeling. I got a feeling.
Okay.
But Betty, are we going to try to loosen our bones also, or?
Yeah. Sorry, my whole thing froze for a while there, so I missed
Yeah.
a lot of it.
I had some problems too. All right, you know who could help us there, Vera?
Vera.
Yes.
That stupid army boy we got caged up with the tigers back there. He probably come up here and chop these fools in the throat or some shit like that and take all their guns.
Well, the lieutenant who's passed out of character, I'm saying.
Right? Yeah, I know, but
I don't know what
We
to,
get farther
what good
away
he
from
would
these
do. He's
people.
passed out in the cage.
I'll pee on him or something. We'll get him up.
Oh my God.
Dave,
I've had to go now for about 35 minutes, Vera. Just saying.
Yes, Puck.
do we also have to roll?
Oh,
Why?
I haven't heard anything from you two. You guys have just been quiet. I mean,
Well,
you
then
do
pay
you
attention,
do
Dave.
notice that
Weird to
you
say
do
that we
notice
were.
that Dee Dee and
We said we
Vera
were,
are kind of
but
shimming
you
their.
didn't hear it then.
Okay, then you can go. Who wants to try to do the agility check?
I will try it.
Okay.
You could probably slip out better with only having one hand.